There's no campaign, there's no politician that can be worth their salt without good people around them. And what we've tried to do for the last 12 years is surround ourselves with good people and to do good people's work. For some of you, you know we call our office the people's office, so if you call our office, the first thing you'll get from the phone is someone saying this is the people office, is served by State Representative Jake Wheatley, is to remind you and us that this office is not for me, it is for you. In the 19th district, for those who might not know, I represent the 19th legislative district, which includes neighborhoods like the Hill District, parts of the North Side like Mexican War Streets, Manchester, parts of Fine View, parts of Marshall Shadeland, Brighton Heights. I go over to Beltsuver and Knoxville, Hazelwood, parts of West and North and South Oakland, downtown. And so we really have Southside Flats and Slopes. We really have a very diverse group of neighborhoods, even some of, I told you, some of Mount Washington. And so we're trying to reach out to all of our citizens and try to make our office very reflective of their needs and interests. That's why it's good that we have this question and answer period for you, because we're hoping that if you find something that we say tonight, or you find some reason to connect with us, that you will help us reach out to your neighbors, your colleagues, your friends, your circle, and hopefully bring them to other events so that we can expand our circle. Because the only way we become your true eyes and ears and voices to truly have a network that we can keep feeding each other and getting better and stronger together. So
the name of the day is What's on Your Mind. So everybody came in, we had them fill out their name and what's on their mind. And what Jake's going to do, he's going to, I guess, read their name off, and maybe they can come up to the mic and they can say what's on their mind while Jake's standing there. We would have the floor open for a minute or so.
You know, having another calling trade or a place where kids can just not only go and play basketball, play swim or whatever, but to learn a trade, you know, to help build a building and see where the building's standing. You know, I think that would be very, very instrumental for the community and Pittsburgh, for sure.
So we want to say thank you for the question. And it's a great question, because what we have always talked about is there's a new kind of culture that has taken place where we want to push our youth to get 4-year college degrees, and we know that is not necessarily the necessary pathway for all children and youth. Matter of fact, in this region, there are 27,000 jobs that are available right now today. And most of those jobs that are available in this region, you don't need a 4-year college degree to get. Now, you do need some technical skills and some training. So it gets to your skill development question and the economy trade type of question. Pittsburgh Public Schools has a career and technical education, strong career and technical education, but a lot of our children, like you said, they may not even know about it, or they're not really being pushed that way. No one is encouraging them to take advantage of it. What we know from statistics is most individuals, black, white, or other, if they're not academically inclined in their youth, they do come around in their 30s and figure out, like you did, dog it, I need something to fall back on. So they come back into the trades. What happens with African Americans, though, we have barriers many times that come back to the trades. Like we might have a driver's license issue, or we might have an issue with our criminal background situation is impacted, or we might have a drug issue where we can't necessarily put down some of our habits that we've kind of developed. So what we have partnered with over time, and this is just a short way to link back to what you said, there's a program called Mentors, Community Wealth Building Initiative. We were on television recently. It's run by a young lady named Chris Kirk and Reggie Good from the North Side, but their offices are in the Hill District. And the main purpose of this is to connect young or old individuals who are serious about getting to work into some of these high impact industries that are here in the region, irrespective of what you come there with.
Senate Bill 1182, as you are familiar with, is the compassionate use of marijuana. Another bill that's attached to it is 528, which is the legalization tax and sale, both of which need to be passed. They could bring upwards of $250 million just in savings from the county jails around the state, from not incarcerating our young people, not to mention the amount of money that will come through the revenue service, specifically from taxes. I believe that this is something that should be done for the betterment of our community. I was wondering what you thought about it.
Well, y'all say this right in the camera, because every time I go to the barber, and every time I talk to my friend back in the back, they're always asking me, how come I haven't stood up on front and advocated for the passage of these bills? I'm in support of these bills. I'll go a step further. We have a set of bills that will be coming out in the next couple months that, because we know, House bills, they will be coming out, and one of the bills would allow for local counties, municipalities, if they so choose, to decriminalize the possession of marijuana.
I have an idea how you can get them maybe to help them pass the law. Get them to, all the legislators that are against it to take a P-test.
I offered up a bill that says if you want to run for office, no matter what the office is, when you file we all have to come and file these petitions we just got finished with. When we file our petitions, we also have to file our P-test. So we have to all take a piss test, and we have to pay for it ourselves. And in order for us to be on the ballot, we have to show clean. Now, I did that to say, if it's good for our citizens to be doing it, for their jobs and for their benefits, it should be good for the people who are making the laws to do it for our jobs and our benefits. So it hasn't received a hearing.
I want to talk about, I'm a college student, so affordable college tuition.
The point we're making is we have a limited amount of funds. We should really be more strategic in how we're investing in it. And we should really create a real system. Pennsylvania is unique in this way, because other states, they don't have such a hodgepodge mechanism for how they fund education. Other states, when they say other state system, it includes all their universities, you know what I'm saying? And other state private institutions, they have rules that if they're going to fund private schools or they're not going to fund it. You know, there's not some veil of a secret way of getting money into private institutions. So we've been advocating, let's develop a real system of higher education. Let's sit down, when I say us, I mean from the governor and the General Assembly, and decide what we want to get out of our system and what should be our system. If we're going to have a state system, should we have the 14 that we have in there, or should we have some combination of the 14 with our state relateds, with our community colleges? Because if you have over 200, 300 odd institutions that you're trying to fund, and I think we fund somewhere close to $3 billion into the system. So clearly you can see that's not a whole bunch of money to go to stretch for 300 institutions. Hey, my district isn't the majority African-American district anymore. It's 52%, 48%, but on election day, it really flips to 50-50. So this district over the last 20 years shifted from one that was predominantly African-American in the high 80s to one that's almost 50-50 on election day. So that's just telling you how the population is moving with our housing policies, with our community development policy. That's why it's critical. You asked me about the land bank. I never got back to the land bank question. But that's why it's critical that we don't lose control of that, how the properties are going to be disseminated in our districts, in our communities. Because the land bank in the blighted districts, that's mostly black districts. Black neighborhoods are going to be impacted by that. So black people got to control how that happens. And that's not to say that the councilwoman who put forth the bill or those who are supporting the bill as it is are bad people. It's just that what happens in politics and policy making is an afterthought when they think about us, although the policy is impacting us. So we have to be part of that conversation, and that's really what that fight is about. Is to say, look, we all can support a land bank bill. We all can support trying to find tools to fight blight. But you're not going to tell me what's going to happen in my district. We're going to sit there and we're going to jointly make that decision together. And I think as our politics evolves, as we mature in politics and understand that, decision making, part of it is showing up and And then the other part is showing out and speaking up.
Another JPB